Nestled in the heart of Northern Europe, it's known for its captivating history and breathtaking landscapes and a remarkable quality of life. Denmark is a nation that truly leaves a lasting impression. The nation's capital just sits 2 hours north of the Rødby circuit, and beyond its fairy tale-like castles, cobblestone streets and colourful waterfront houses, Copenhagen is known as a true haven for motorsport enthusiasts. With a deep-rooted passion for speed and a track record of proving world-class drivers, the city breathes motorsport in every corner. The nation has made substantial investments in wind power and has successfully transitioned to being one of the world's greenest countries, and no better place proves this point than the Rødby karting ring. Surrounded by wind turbines, the track was rebuilt just 5 years ago to make way for the immense new tunnel project to connect Denmark to Germany. It's another magnificent circuit that's been added to the calendar for 2023. A cathedral of speed and wonder, the 1200-metre circuit has proven to be a worthy adversary to mark the halfway point of the season. With high levels of complexity, the Rødby karting ring has certainly provided close action, with many overtaking opportunities around the layout, giving every driver an opportunity to fight at the front of the field. But with challenging braking zones, this circuit bites back. 1 foot off the racing line and your race could be over. The championship itself couldn't be closer, with just a handful of points separating the top drivers going into the halfway point of the season. For both OK and OKJ, it's still anyone's to win in 2023. The finals about to get underway, and you can see the OK juniors heading out there. Junior OK's 11 to 14 years old, the smaller version of the OK engines, but still 125 with the approximate 30 brake horsepower. The Vega tyres being used, and P1 fuels providing everything the drivers need to get going out on circuit. A look at the championship going into this one. Lewis Wherrell leads it going into the final. He's extended it 125 championship points to Belgium's Thibaut Ramaekers. Zach Drummond sits third in the championship standings from Stepan Antonov and Alfie Slater. But that could all change as they go into this next race. Vivek Kanthan starting it on pole position. What a weekend it has been for him. Drummond starts alongside as the drivers make their way onto the starting grid. The OK Juniors will start in just a moment's time. You can see the grid formed, the mechanics out there ready to get the kart started. And again, Scott Lindblom, Iacopo Martinez, Alfie Slater, Lewis Wherrell dominating the top rows in this. It is going to be a challenge all the way throughout. The longest races we are going to see this weekend, 21 laps for the juniors, about to get underway around this 1200-metre circuit. Race director Martin Bean chatting to the front runners, Vivek Kanthan and Zach Drummond. Last few moments of words of encouragement, and you can see there the two teammates consoling each other. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The final is about to get underway. OK Junior, 36 drivers now remain in the category as we go into the next 21 laps of racing. Race start time due to kickstart at 12:30. The wind has picked up once again here. It's about a headwind going down the main straight, so drivers will have to watch out for that slipstream effect as they make their way in towards turn one. The track itself, 1,246 metres in a clockwise direction. The Rødby karting ring in Denmark has certainly proved to be a challenge for all of our drivers, but with so many overtaking opportunities, the racing has been so incredibly close. It has certainly been a massive achievement for all of these drivers to really push themselves through in these races, and so far it has been dominated by the American Vivek Kanthan this weekend, who has certainly shown he has got some true potential out on circuit. Small meeting of the top running drivers there with race director Martin Bean, just to go over the starting procedure, I'm sure. And before this race gets underway, you can see a lot of the drivers in there. One Lewis Wherrell just in the background there. The marshals out on track get themselves prepared for what is going to be an exciting moment of racing, and I'm sure they're going to be on point here to make sure everything is running well and safe out on circuit, because as you can imagine, the tension is building both on the track and off the track. And the sun beams down on all of the drivers and spectators here And again, the last few words of encouragement before we get going in this one. But what a day it's been, and we'll talk a little bit more about the championship itself. Despite the fact that Lewis Wherrell's starting this one P5 and it's been an up and down sort of weekend, he still leads the championship. He comes away after the super heats and the qualifying heats with 7 and 15 points, so he gains quite a lot. Thibaut Ramaekers not scoring anything, so he doesn't close in on Lewis Wherrell. He remains at 100 points. He has not gained anything yet. Can he improve that going into this final? Zach Drummond still sits there in third with 91 championship points, and Stepan Antonov's 87. Alfie Slater with 83. Bondarev with 76. Iacopo Martinese with 74. So very close in the top sections, but Wherrell still leads the way with 25-point leads. But remember, 30 championship points are available in this one. And, well, if Thibaut Ramaekers can do anything here to close that one up, he would do a good job. But he starts well down in the field, 22nd place, the second in the championship start. So he's got quite an effort ahead of him to get that sorted out. You can see the action on the grid. Many of the media, mechanics, drivers getting themselves prepared. Some already seated, some still standing. You can imagine the tension is building down on the grid. This year sees new points system coming into the weekend. Obviously now with the championship points available in the qualifying heats and the super heats as well as the finals, with the bonus point as well for the fastest lap in the final. Keep an eye on that one, because that could affect, you know, second or third, or maybe even the championship itself when we go into the later half of the season. Remember, this is the halfway point. Cremona is the next round in Italy, then Franciacorta. So the 12th and 15th of July is the Cremona weekend, as there your two front runners, Zach Drummond and Vivek Kanthan, getting themselves ready. Last few words, and Vivek looks nice and happy there, and ready to get going for this one. As you can imagine, it's quite a stressful situation these drivers are in. First time Champions of the Future has come to the Rødby circuit in the south of Denmark, and the first time that the circuit itself has held an international karting event. And so far, the racing has certainly proved something special, as the racing will soon get underway. A look at some of the spectators ready to get this one going, and a look back further in the grid, and Stefan Bosch on this one, a name that is usually spoken about at the front of the grid, starts this one P36 right at the back of the grid. Other drivers to keep an eye on as well. Augustus Toniolo is starting 33rd on the grid. He certainly has shown that he can make his way through the grid in the heat races that we had earlier on through the weekend, as well as the super heats as well. Henry Domain, he starts his one P28 as well, one of the British drivers of the Sodikart team. It's been a tough weekend for him, but again, watch him, because he is a driver who knows how to make his way through the field. Filippo Sala as well, the Italian driver, in the number 36. He's starting P19 for Sodikart. He also is a driver who knows how to make moves. Keep an eye on him as he starts his one in that mid-pack. Same with Elliot Kaczynski, who's starting pretty much alongside in P18 for Sodikart. In that number 10, he starts on the 9th row of the grid. And again, another driver who has certainly made a name for himself with making moves up through the field. So it really could go down to anything here. But the main question is, what side will they have chosen to go from? I can see that the number 90 has chosen to go on the right-hand side of the grid. So Kanthan has chosen to go on the left-hand side of the grid as we look at it right-hand side, as Ross Upton, the judge of fact, puts up the 5-minute board before the race gets underway here. And again, there you see Vivek Kanthan, who starts this one on pole position. And what a weekend he's had. He won his super heat. He won 2 of his race heats yesterday as well. The start of the weekend was a little bit shaky, but something was fixed overnight, and he has certainly shown he has got some true pace and talent around this 1,200-metre circuit. He gets himself primed and ready, seated, ready to get going in this one. His teammate Zach Drummond starts alongside in the number 86. Again, another driver who's had a good second half of the weekend. The first half bit shaky with a 7th and 2nd place, but then later on in the weekend came back with a couple of race wins. There he is on your screens, getting himself ready and seated in his kart. And again, it's going to be absolutely fantastic to see what these drivers can do, because again, the tension, as you can imagine, builds quite some way. Scott Lindblom and Iacopo Martinese, they start just behind on the second row. Martinese starting on the inside row in P3. And again, he has had a relatively decent weekend as well. He's been up and downs, but I suspect he'll be looking forward to this weekend. He qualified second. He did have a heat win yesterday. First day was a bit shaky, third and fourth, and then it was a third win and a fifth yesterday. The pre-final earlier on also going relatively okay. So he starts this one on the second row, and he will enjoy that inside line. But what will work? Remember, a lot of the drivers switching sides. Is it going to be better to go from that outside line? Is it going to be better to go from the inside line? That's the question. There is Iacopo Martinese, who's starting on that second row. He's got Scott Lindblom alongside, and Lindblom certainly has been another driver who has shown true potential here. He qualified 27th at the start of this weekend, and he starts the final on the second row in P4. That is an achievement in itself for Lindblom, so keep a very close eye on him. He's not had a heat win over the course of this weekend. Can he win the final from that second row? There he is on your screen with the very distinctive bright yellow and blue helmet design there. You can see him from a mile away in the number 47. Keep a very close eye on the Swede. Lewis Wherrell starts in fifth, and Alfie Slater alongside, a British row 3. And Wherrell certainly has had an interesting day throughout this one. He struggled a little bit earlier on in the weekend with breakdowns, but he did have wins as well. So he does show that he is coming back strong. I think he was plagued with a chain breaking during one of the qualifying heats. So he is certainly going to have to bring it back in this one, but he starts in P5 for this one. Let's see what he can do after qualifying 6th. He is your championship leader. Keep an eye on him. Alfie Slater starting alongside him, and again, Slater with a brilliant run over the course of this weekend. He's had 2 qualifying heat wins, 2 fourth place, did finish 12th in one of them, but came back at the end of the day yesterday, and he is a fan of the circuit. I think he was a fan of one of his overtaking styles, where he shared that on social media, so he is a big fan of the circuit. He qualified 8th, and currently he sits, Alfie Slater, in the championship standings, now 5th. He went into this weekend 8th in the championship, now into 5th. Here is 4th in the championship now going into this race, Stepan Antonov, who starts this one on the 4th row of the grid in P7. Yesterday, and at the start of the weekend, did have a race win, finished 18th in his second, so it was a very shaky first day. Day 2, a little bit better, 6th, 2nd, and 4th. So was unable to get another race win. He qualified 21st. So again, he had a good run of qualifying heats. 1 minute board goes up, and we get ready to go for the first of the 2 finals here at Champions of the Future Round 3 at Rødby. It's the halfway mark as Matheus Orjuela gets himself ready to get going for this one. Starts P8, and again, another driver has had a brilliant weekend. 9th, 3 thirds, and a 2nd in the qualifying heats. Did qualify 4th. Currently sits well down the order in the championship. I think he's moved up now. Went into the weekend 24th in the championship, now 18th in the championship. So again, showing that he is certainly moving up the order there as we get ready to get going for the first final of the weekend. Mechanics primed and ready to push the karts off the starting grid. Hopefully, all karts get started and we get going. First time of asking. Ross Upton at the side of the track ready to blow the whistle, and then Martin Bean, our race director, will show the lights. Whistle blows. OK Junior final is about to get underway. 36 drivers. Here we go. Let's take you through the starting grid. Vivek Kanthan for the USA starts this one on pole position. Zach Drummond for the United Kingdom starts alongside. Iacopo Martinese and Scott Lindblom go from row 2 from Lewis Wherrell and Alfie Slater on row 3. Stepan Antonov and Matheus Orjuela round out the top 4 rows on row 8. Marilla de Rocha and Oliver Kinmark round out the top 10 on row 5. Dries van Langendonk and Tame Soleil, they go from row 6 with Christian Costoya and Jack Iliff going from row 7. Oleksandr Bondarev and Gabriel Kernican round out row 8 with Andy Konsani and Elliot Kaczynski rounding out row 9. Filippo Sala and Louis Cochet, they round out the top 20 on row 10 with Tiziano Monza and Thibaut Ramaekers alongside. Ethan Lennon and Kosei Aguma go from row 12. Kian Farden and Mies Huben round out row 13 with Nicholas Schaufler and Henry Domain on 14. Santano Panetta and Arjun Kraling go from the top 30 on row 15. Joel Pokola and Jenisch Pessel round out row 16 from Augustus Toniolo and Kip Bolowski on row 17. Krildietiev and Sasha van Bad Bosch round out the entire grid, 36 drivers, as they make their way round to start their now formation lap. And as you can imagine, tension building, drivers thinking, what can we do now in this race? Will Kanthan be able to break away and get another good lead? Will Drummond do the same? Drummond did it earlier on. He gained a 2-second advantage over the course of the starting opening laps, then fell back at the end of the race, and that was a much shorter race. But remember, this time around, brand new tyres. That's what we're here for. Myself, Anthony Jordan, Vera Vitin in the commentary box. Vera, it's been a very interesting weekend, and it all boils down to this now.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Orihuela can do, because he's been really fast through the heats and everything. So, but now he starts a little bit further down, and Drummond and yeah, is Parolin going to take this weekend?
Well, that's going to be the biggest question. Let's see what happens, because it is a Parolin front row lockout. The team has done a brilliant job with getting everything sorted out for this one. And are we going to get a green flag? First time of asking. Hands up there from Kanthan, just thinking to slow everyone down. Into the tram lines we go. Lights go out. Great stuff from the front row. And Drummond, crucially, gets the jump on Kanthan. The inside line works. There's 3 carts off straight away. And that looks like Thibaut Ramaekers is one of them. As all the carts, they go into the media pen there. That luckily the cameramen all avoid getting hit by a cart. But 3 carts off.
That was a disaster for Ramaekers.
Oh, there's more carts off. There's several carts off at turn 1. This is a huge disaster. Look at all of that. Oh, that's immense damage. Who have we got? Louis Cochet is off the track. Tiziano Monza, Ramaekers, Ethan Lennon is off the track. Kosei Guma and Bondarev. Bondarev's off the track as well. This is a huge disaster from that mid-pack, but that's allowed the rest of the field to break away now, as Drummond, I believe, still holds on to the lead. What a disastrous start.
Vivek Kanthan is having his hands up at Luis Wherrell. What are they getting at?
Well, not too sure, but let's see what happens as the race goes on. As you can see now, it's starting to heat up. Orihuela is up a few positions there. So across the line they go. Drummond leads from Martinez, Wherrell, Kanthan, Lindblom, and Antonov and Kinmark as they side their way through turn 1 with the destroyed carts left, right, and centre. There you can see Lindblom as we go back into yellow flag conditions. Antonov is still there behind Lindblom, and he's looking to get the move done. Can't quite do it into this corner. He might have to think of another one, as Kinmark's just behind as well. Keep an eye on Kinmark, because he's been very quick over the course of this weekend. There is Luis Wherrell, and you were saying that Kanthan had his hand up. Not sure what that was for, but he still sits there in P4 right behind him. As you can see, a breakaway here now between Drummond and Martinez as they go through.
And
Kanthan's got through. Yeah. So Kanthan's got the move done, and he has moved up now into P3 on that charge back towards his teammate. And again, fresh tyres. Kanthan knows how to control good tyres around this track. He has proved that over the course of this weekend. Can he close that gap? Because it's starting to open up. It's around 0.8 of a second is the gap, so it is closing. Drummond still leads from Martinez, Kanthan, Wherrell, Antonov. Then it's Lindblom, Kinmark. Then it's Slater. Then it's Soleil in 9th.
Kinmark is all around. Scott Lindblom's behind now. Let's see what happens. He had a look at it already, but didn't. And now he goes in for it. Yep,
the 2 Swedes side by side as they then battle their way through that infield section. And you can see there Kinmark saying, come on, let's go, let's fight. Stop defending, let's keep pushing, because look at the gap that's opened up now between himself and Antonov, who has started to break away and is on the charge now towards Luis Wherrell, who's a little further up the road. Crucially, though, Martinez, that gap still 0.2 of a second. Where's Kanthan? Has he closed that gap up to Martinez? Keep an eye on that one, looking as they go through. Not so much. Wherrell still behind as they keep going. You can see Wherrell tucking in. Wherrell, the taller of the 2 drivers, and there is a headwind, so he really needs to tuck in as much as he can. Here's a look at the restart then, and well, what caused the huge incident that happened further back? Oh, and that looked like a lockup. Was that a lockup from the Sodikart there that went off?
Yeah, the Sodi went fully sideways for some reason.
Yeah, was that Domain who went off the track there? I think it might have been. I think Domain with the lockup, and just it all went wrong. And then there you can see Bondarev who spun around. Disaster for him.
And there's somebody lost a part of their back bumper there as well.
And I think it was Ethan Lennon and Tiziano Monza also
one
there.
of the CRGs, like,
yeah,
there also.
Yes, yeah. Oh, yeah, so that's at turn 1 as well. So that's another kart that stopped. That, I think, was it a CRG?
Yeah.
Could have been Kerneken. Not too sure on who it was. It's the number 36. It was Filippo Sala, actually, who's gone off. It's one of the Sodis that's off the track. Filippo Sala is out of this race. What a disaster. He had such a good running. And Kerneken is off the track as well. So you were right, it was the CRG as well. Kian Fardin is also off the track, and he has dropped down the order. So Fardin's dropped down, Kerneken's dropped down, and Filippo Sala, who's out of the car and walking away, his final is over.
Yeah, Dries van Langendorf is on the charge now.
Yes, he is indeed. Fastest lap of the race, 52.117. See what he can do. He's currently sitting in P12. He's dropped down one position as we keep watching the battle here for P3. As look at that. That gap has certainly come down now, and Wherrell can see it, and now he goes to the move on Kanthan, retakes third place. Lewis Wherrell on the charge here, tucking down, using that slipstream as much as he can to try and gain any momentum through turn 1. Remember, it's absolutely flat out through 1 and 2 into the heavy braking zone of turn 3 here as he closes that gap up to Martinez. This is an incredibly close final. Remember, Wherrell leads the championship by 25 points in this position here. He will lose a little bit of his lead, but crucially, Zach Drummond would move up second in the championship from Stepan Antonov. So both drivers would actually increase positions, and he's close right in now on Iacopo Martinez. Martinez is in danger here. If he can't get the move done on Drummond, he is going to be in the peril of Lewis Wherrell.
Yeah, it's still been quite calm in the front of the pack, but let's see what happens. I think they're all thinking about we have to be smart now, because somebody breaks away from the pack, the game is over for the rest of them. Exactly.
It is a mental game at a very high rate of knots across the start-finish line they go. Drummond still leads then for Martinez, and Wherrell has seriously closed in. Now he's right on that rear bumper. Expect a move here going in towards turn 4. He might look down the inside. No, not quite close enough. He looked much closer when he went into turn number 3. Bad exit means he lost a little bit of momentum, as now Jack Iliff sets the fastest lap of the race in the 51.878. He's currently in 15th place. Not had the best start for him. He's making his way up the order. He's only dropped one position so far in this one, so not made many positions up.
I think also Lewis Wherrell is thinking of where to do the overtake now, because if he does it in a bad place, then he loses ground to Drummond as well. So he's probably thinking, like, where would it be smart to do this?
That is the ultimate question, really, because we've seen many drivers going for the overtake out of that final corner, but the only downside you have to that is then you lose momentum down one of the fastest parts of the circuit, so you need to sort it out. Kian Fardin in the number 60, who is currently at the back of the grid, sees himself get a 5-second time penalty. In fact, Fardin's out of the race now. We've lost several drivers out of this race, and big names: Kerneken, Sala, Bondarev, Monza, Lennon as well. Big names out there. There's Thibaut Ramaekers, who is trying to recover back in this one, is up into P25, now sets the fastest lap of the race, but he has got a long way to go, and his championship certainly isn't going the way he wants it at the halfway point here.
It's interesting. Wherrell creeps really, really close.
Yes, indeed. So Drummond, Martinez, Wherrell, Kanthan, and Antonov still in that top 5. As you can see, the train starting to sort themselves out.
Kinmark is also putting his head down.
Here's a replay. Looking up in the top left, you can see...
There's the Kerneken and Sala, but I wonder what happened.
Straight off the track and into the barrier. So that kart he got going, and I think something broke on the kart there into the barrier. I'm not sure who that was.
As Wherrell has made the move now.
Oh, yes, indeed. Lewis Wherrell has got past Iacopo Martinez and up into second place. He is now hunting down Drummond. Drummond, at the end of the pre-final, was saying that the track is so dusty that if you do get dust on the tyres, it can take 3, maybe even 4 laps to clean off the dust. So very interesting. Here's another replay. This is Filippo Sala and his breakdown.
I think this is actually Wherrell overtaking Martinez.
It was, yes, it was. So, yeah, Wherrell getting the move done. That was through turn 4. So, there you go. So, that's where he's got it done. So, again, that's a nice corner to do it on because it's coming out of a nice twisty section. You can get the move down on the inside. That one sorts it out. And then, yeah, nicely timed, I think, from
Wherrell.
Wherrell.
Kanthan goes for Martinez.
He does indeed.
Yeah, and gets it done.
He does indeed. So, Kanthan up into P3.
And Antonov is closing in as well. So, I wonder what's going on with Martinez now.
Well, as the race goes on, we shall find out, because as you can imagine, as soon as one gets past, you can get a bit flustered, a bit off the racing line. But again, maybe if he was squeezed off the racing line, maybe his tyres are dirty. Maybe he's trying to clean them off. So again, that could be the cause of this. as again they go through turn number 10 in towards the final corner of turn 11. We are nearing the halfway mark of this final. And Drummond, at this moment, continuously leads this way. The gap 0.2 of a second from Lewis Wherrell, but Wherrell is closing in. Looking at the lap times, that last lap around, Lewis Wherrell was faster, and it wasn't even a personal best for Lewis. The personal best for Zach Drummond is actually a 51.615. So Lewis Wherrell, who's not even doing a personal best, is going faster than Drummond. So the Forza looking a little bit quicker than the Parolin here in this final, as Ramaekers, once again, fastest lap of the race, is continuing to close in on the rest of the field, currently in 24th place on his recovery drive. So 10 laps down out of 21. Drummond and Wherrell, line astern, the two Brits. Who is going to get this one? At the moment, Drummond is in control of this race. But again, where does Lewis go for the move?
He looked back. He sees this Kanthan behind him.
No, he's not going to go for the move on this one. Looks to the inside maybe through turn 4. No, not this time. He has got a gap here to Kanthan, but he's got to sort it out because Kanthan now has just set the fastest lap of the race and is closing in on these two. And I think Wherrell is going to be aware of that one. Yeah, checks over the shoulder again just to see where Kanthan is. And Kanthan is closing in. Look at this now. This is going to be a three-way battle unless Wherrell gets this move done. Here we go out of turn 9. Another check over the shoulder just to see what is happening behind, because Martinez once again is now starting to reel these guys back in. And we know that Drummond is good at defending here. He held off an entire grid for nearly 2 laps to take the win in the superheat earlier on today. Can he do the same in this final? But Wherrell's going to dive it down the inside through turn 3, and he makes it look easy there on Drummond. Drummond not able to defend it, and he slots in right behind. But now, keep an eye on Drummond, because he will instantly fight back as Wherrell immediately goes on the defence. Now Vivek Kanthan's right there. Kanthan hits the curb. He's going to go for the switchback here on Drummond. Contact between the two of them. The two teammates nearly collide into each other. Martinez is close back in as well. It's now a 4-kart race to the end. It's now a 5-kart race because Antonov has latched onto the back of them as well. Here we go. Down the inside goes Vivek Kanthan on his teammate. Now Martinez goes to the outside and Drummond holds onto it, but Antonov goes through as well. And Antonov is side by side, and oh dear, look how close Drummond and Martinez were just then.
And now Kinmark is there as well.
Yeah, Kinmark, Sala as well, and also Lindblom also involved in this one as Martinez goes side by side with Drummond. And Drummond here is going to have to try and defend it as Tame Sala looks to the inside of him. Can't quite do it, and he slots back into place. Crucially, this is allowing the top guys to now break away. Wherrell's got a 5/10 lead now from the rest of this one from Kanthan. Eyes on this battle as Drummond, who started on the front row, got to the lead early doors, is now falling down the order. Now in P5. Back here, second place, Kanthan, Antonov, absolutely line astern as they go through the final corner. Look how different the racing line is there between Kanthan and Antonov. Antonov a much tighter line through on the apex from Vivek Kanthan, who took the wider line, and that's to get the drive out of the corner more down the start-finish straight, but it's not worked out for him because down the inside goes Stepan Antonov and moves up into second place. Kanthan not able to defend it. And again, it's a very tricky place to defend through, but Kanthan's going to look to the inside. No, thinks against it.
Yeah, now I think Kanthan also thought that maybe not, because Lewis is getting away now. What is he? He's like 0.8 of a second already.
He is, yeah. So 0.8 of a second for Lewis Wherrell, who is increasingly opening that gap. Antonov is going to do what he can to close it. Kanthan's going to follow as well. Martinez, though, there in 4th place, is holding off quite a train of karts just behind him of Drummond, Sala, Lindblom, and Oliver Kinmark, who's there in 8th place. Van Langendonck's up into 9th. On his own a bit. He's not got anyone close in front or behind. Costoya is the next one behind in the top 10 from Jack Iliff, Toniolo, Schaufler, Pokula, Ditiev, Panetta, Peschel, and Huben. The top 18, Slater and Ramaekers, now P19 and 20 as Ramaekers is on the recovery drive. As Kanthan again all over that rear bumper of Antonov, but not able to get that move done. Here is a replay of Zach Drummond trying to defend his second place spot, and the contact actually between himself and the teammate, and it was actually sandwiched between Wherrell and Kanthan, and so lucky to keep control out of that kart. So Antonov still there in second, trying to close that gap, but it's still increasing. Wherrell controlling this final and doing a good job about it. Kanthan still there right on that rear bumper. We know Kanthan can go for the move. We know he's quick around here. We knows how he needs to pedal around this track as Van Langendonk sets the fastest lap of the race. He is in P9 at the moment, but keeping an eye here, Drummond, Martinez, line astern. Martinez is doing well in P4, but Drummond, who has now found his rhythm, struggled a bit at the start of this one, got a good getaway, but then wasn't on the outright pace of the race. Now he's found it. Now he's found his rhythm. He is still right there in P5.
Lewis Wherrell is enjoying himself. We've seen this many times already this year. When he gets in front and just gets to do his own thing, he's been always very good.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, the Brit has done a fabulous job so far this weekend. It's still been a challenge for him, like you say, plagued with mechanical issues at the early stages of this weekend, but now it's all coming his way. The gap now over 1 second for the Forza Racing driver. Absolutely driving away at the front of this one. Antonov still there in second from Kanthan. Martinez. No positions have changed in the top 14. Centeno Panetta has moved up into P15 at the expense of Iacopo, who moves down into 16th place. Eyes on here, Kanthan, so still on the back of Antonov. He wants that second place spot back. Look at him as he gets that slipstream, like I say, taking full advantage.
Team Sala is all around Jack Drummond now, and Drummond defends now.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Lindblom is also there. This is going to get tight. Drummond still defending all the way through the corner.
Yeah, he is indeed. So Drummond now really causing a bit of a roadblock here as Team Soleil and Scott Lindblom go to battle here. Kinmark's going to like this as well, because he's going to latch onto the back of it and get fully involved in the scrap. Here they go, out of turn number 4. Up the hill they go in towards turn number 5. Very interesting one here. Actually, no, they're going into turn 9. A little bit later on in the lap than I thought they were. But yeah, Drummond just holding on to it here, and Lindblom not going to go for the move just yet. He's going to stay behind Team Soleil and not going to go for the move. Kanthan still hasn't gone for the move either. So everyone just in a bit of a stalemate, but we're nearing the end of the race. There is only a couple of laps to go as Mateus Orjuela picks up a warning flag, and 5 seconds will be added to his end time. He sits down in P20 at the moment. This was the overtake for the race lead. Wherrell down the inside of Drummond. Beautiful little overtake down the inside through turn number 3. And Drummond did his level best to try and hold on to that spot, but he sits there in P5. Not much he can do at the moment as time is quickly running out. The same here for this battle. Kanthan doing everything he can to try and get past Antonov. But Stepan Antonov is absolutely solid here for the time being.
Yeah, Kanthan went for the carburetor a lap earlier, so maybe he opened a little bit to get a little more speed, and now it's the last lap.
Yeah, let's see what he can do. Wherrell then has opened that gap to 1.3 seconds as he leads the way onto the final lap of the race. 21 laps, this one, the longest race these junior drivers have done, but on the fresh set of tyres. This battle, though, for second place as Kanthan does make the move, dives down the inside through turn number 5 and gets it done. Antonov is going to try and fight back, but he can't quite do it through turn number 7. He's going to be careful here because Martinez is closing in as well. Down the inside in towards turn number 9, and Kanthan holds that inside line, and nothing that Stepan Antonov can do as Martinez dives down the inside, but he's outbraked himself and he goes off the track, and Drummond might have an opportunity to get another one, and he does. Drummond gets back through and he might get another one, but Lewis Wherrell for the United Kingdom crosses the line and he takes another 30 championship points. He extends his championship lead now to 155 from Zach Drummond's 113. Wherrell goes into the second half of the season leading by several points after 21 laps of racing. Wherrell takes the win from Vivek Kanthan, Zach Drummond, Stepan Antonov, and Iacopo Martinez, the top 5. Martinez, unfortunately, trying to go for that move on the last corner. It didn't work out, and he tumbles down the order to P5. But Lewis Wherrell, what a weekend. After his chain broke in the qualifying heats, he came back to win his last race of yesterday, came through today, and what a weekend it has been for the young Brit. After a disastrous run in Trinec in the Champions of the Future, this time around, he gets vindicated as he wins round 3 of Champions of the Future in the OK Junior category. The karts make their way back to Parc Fermé, and the trophy presentations will take place in a few moments' time. There is a look at the provisional classifications. Everything we talk about here is provisional, of course, before they go through scrutineering. But Lewis Wherrell, after 21 laps, wins round 3 at Rødby for the Champions of the Future by 2.3 seconds from Vivek Kanthan, from Zach Drummond, Stepan Antonov, from Iacopo Martinez, Tame Soleil, Andries van Langendonk, Oliver Kinmark and Scott Lindblom, Christian Costoya and Jack Eiler from Augustus Toniolo, from Nicolas Schaufler, all of them gaining several positions. Toniolo, we spoke about him, the Brazilian who started at the back of the grid, 21 positions gained for the Brazilian, and he moves up several positions. Nicolas Schaufler as well, 14 from Kirill Ditiev, also 21 positions gained from Santino Panetta, who finishes in the top 15. So a brilliant run of results. We'll be back in just a moment's time because podium presentations will be taking place very, very soon.
A dominant performance, and what a result for your top 3 drivers. Before the trophies are handed out, please welcome onto the podium team boss Luca Cavalli for Lewis Wherrell, who will join onto the podium to receive his trophy. And the trophies come in thick and fast by James Geidel, who will present the trophies firstly to 3rd place, Zach Drummond to the United Kingdom, who receives a lovely, beautiful, sustainable trophy with the used tyres. Vivek Kanthan receives his 2nd place, and again, a beautiful result for the American driver. And finally, Lewis Wherrell, another dominant performance this weekend. He wins round 3 at the Rødby circuit, and the team trophy being presented to Luca, the team boss for Forza Motorsport. A fantastic time as we take some photos now for the press, guys. Nice big smiles. Get them out there. And if we get you all 3 on the top spot as well, if you all squeeze up onto that top spot. Vivek, get yourself up there. Good lad. Perfect. Nice big smiles as we get ready for the next fun part of the race weekend, the most important part of the race weekend, where the drivers can finally let off some steam and they get given the champagne. It is champagne time! And a beautiful result for the top 3 drivers. 2 from the United Kingdom and for the USA. Please, a huge round of applause for your top 3. Lewis Wherrell, Vivek Kanthan and Zach Drummond. Before Lewis gets away, we'll have a quick chat with him. Lewis, if you spin around for us, camera's just over in the corner there. Lewis, well, what a result that was. It looked like a tough weekend. The heats didn't go all your way with the chain breaking, but you've certainly come through in the final.
Yeah, it was a mixed weekend, shall we say. And the heats weren't brilliant. We ended up 5th after the heat, 9th after the heats. Started the super heat 5th, had the new tyres, finished that 2nd, and then started the final on P5. Definitely knew I could win with the speed I've got, and I got into the lead, and I just pulled away.
You extend your championship lead now by several points. You go into the 2nd half of the season with, I think, 155 championship points now. How does that feel? Do you feel confident that you could come away with the championship this year?
Yeah. I mean, I can't thank my team enough for what we've achieved so far this year. Jamie, Dean, Luca, and Matt Track Engines and X-Free Chassis.
Well, it's been a solid weekend for you. A top spot finish in the final. You can be happy with that one. Smile and celebrate with your team and enjoy that lovely trophy. Well done.
Thank you.
Excellent stuff there. Lewis Wherrell finishing top spot in the OK Junior final. One more final to go. The seniors in the OK category will be coming up next.